Hi there, I'm Mandy Yarkich from Creative Matters, and you're listening to Creative Matters on Air, where I have conversations with new and established artists from around New Zealand. I love to listen to artists' stories and learn about their creative process, and maybe you do too, which is why I've made this podcast, to inspire, inform and educate. I hope you can take away something positive and encouraging from each of these amazing stories to help you on your own creative journey. Welcome to Creative Matters episode 14. I really want to say thank you so much for taking the time to join me today and to listen to my podcast. Today I'm talking to Emma Farry. Emma is a writer, photographer, creative maker and meditation practitioner. Her work is all about emotion and the life of the spirit. She brings the awareness to her work with photography, books and soul stones. Each of her pieces is designed to start a conversation with the heart of the viewer. Emma writes her books and creates her soul stones at her studio overlooking Muriwai Beach, which is northwest of Auckland, New Zealand. Her writing and photography is inspired by the dynamic beauty that surrounds her. She draws strength from her rich Lebanese heritage, as well as the Scottish determination and Celtic love for nature she inherited from her mum. You can see images of Emma's work and all the related links on her blog, which is on our website creativematters.co.nz. You can also find out more about Emma and her beautiful work on her website emmafarry.com. Welcome to Creative Matters on Air, Emma.
Thank you. So happy to be here on this beautiful morning.
Oh, it's so good to have you. I've been really looking forward to having this chat.
Same.
Yeah. So we know each other, but we have had a few good, deep, meaningful chats over the time. But
every time we chat, it's like we've got so many places that we go. So
yeah.
This is probably going to be a wide-ranging one, I think.
Exactly. It's going to be hard to keep it in the hour.
Yes.
All right. So welcome. It's great to have you.
Thank you.
So I thought before we get started, it might be nice for you to tell the listeners a little bit about your practice, just sort of a small description of your practice before we get into your childhood.
Okay.
So, looking forward to hearing about it.
It's an interesting question. I think I work really intuitively. So as far as every day is different for me, like it depends on how I'm feeling and what I want to do. And it's really great to have a lot of different mediums to work in, because some days I won't necessarily feel like writing or have a certain kind of mood that I want to put into something that might not be the page. It might be a stone, or it might be going down the beach and taking some photographs. So it's really good to have that variety in my creative practice. For years I was just writing, and I didn't actually acknowledge all those other parts of me that wanted expression. So now that I'm older and I kind of have been able to embrace other parts of the creative sort of sphere, it's given me much more scope to express myself and to kind of get messages across in different ways.
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah.
And I mean, with you don't call yourself a visual artist, do you? But
No,
you're
I
a
don't.
very creative person, and I think that's why, I really wanted to talk to you on this podcast. You have so much to offer creatively, and you've done so many different things that, you still, to me, have that kind of artistic way in your life, even though you may not call yourself an artist.
Yes, it's quite funny. Like, I don't call myself an artist, and it's been quite interesting because, because I've been a writer all my life, there's a lot of kind of ego that you bring into it, and so it can be quite heavy sometimes, whereas actually branching out into being creative on a more wide scale gives me so much more freedom to have some fun. I don't take it seriously. I'll take risks, much more risks and all those things. So it's been a fabulous kind of evolution, and to be able to speak about that on this podcast is really cool, because there's probably other people like me that are not necessarily wanting to call themselves a fine artist, not taught in that way, but still creative, as you said. So
yeah, it's brilliant. I think it'd be really great for lots of people.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So just going back to the beginning, can you tell us about where you were born, your childhood, and what sort of child you were?
Oh, it's so interesting. I was born, I was listening to some of your other fabulous podcasts, and just listening to people's childhoods is really interesting. So it sort of got me thinking too. And I was born in Dunedin in 1970, so I was a child of the 70s, born into a very large Lebanese family. on my dad's side, and then on my mum's side, a very large Scottish family. So there was a lot of people around. It was, a really kind of busy, lots of people surrounding us. I'm the oldest of 5, so there was a lot of us. Always quite a creative child, I'd say. Well, not really creative, more sensitive, and I'd put my sensitivity into words and write poetry and stuff from a young age. And again, didn't really see myself as a writer until my lovely mum collected all my works, and I was only 9 by then. So God, the poems are hilarious, like they're so funny. But she collected them all up and hand wrote them into this big red book. Actually, I'm hoping my dad still got it, and she carefully inscribed them all. And I saw that book, and it just changed something in my mind. I thought, I'm actually a writer. So she gave me that gift at the age of 9. So that
How
was
amazing!
Yeah,
what a great mum.
She was amazing. Honestly, she was my biggest kind of cheerleader, and probably wouldn't have had the courage to come this far with my creative process if it hadn't been for her, because it wasn't really a creative family. It was it was an immigrant family on my Lebanese side, so there wasn't really the time and space to be, even though there was lots of creative people within it, there's not that much time and space to really nurture that side of things. When you're coming to a new country, you're trying to build your legacy and all those things. So her giving me that kind of endorsement was fabulous. Yeah.
And that sort of endorsement from such a young age can be so long lasting, can't it?
It really can. It's taken me through this whole life. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mum.
Yeah, thanks, Mum. As usual, we're always thinking of Mum something for so many things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And from that age of 9, where did you take your writing?
It's funny because I always sort of did it, but then back in those days, you didn't have there was no such thing as a creative writing course, unfortunately. So the way that I kind of dealt with that was, okay, so I always had the business head on as well. So how am I going to make money from my writing? And so I ended up doing a degree in English at Aotearoa University, and then went to Canterbury for the journalism course, postgrad journalism course, which was great. And then from there, that journalism just really took me many places. And again, it gave me a lot of variety of what, every day you'd be speaking to different people, and I love stories. So that was also a real part of my journey, listening to people's stories. I find that amazing. I'm sure you do too, which is why we're doing this.
Yeah.
But it's endlessly fascinating to me. So that was good.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that you were a journalist. So how long were you doing that for?
I actually did it for many years, and even up until when I had kids, I was working on shows like Maggie's Garden Show. Do you remember that one? And did a few kind of lifestyle shows like that, New Zealand House and Garden and those kind of shows. Yeah.
So were you writing for those?
I was actually researching. So it was kind of like researching is kind of like bringing journalism skills to TV. Like you find the people, you go and interview them, you do the notes about what you think the show should be about, and then you deliver that to the producer. So it was a really fun job. I really loved doing that.
That sounds amazing.
But journalism took me so many places. Like I was telling you before, I worked at the ODT, my first job, and it was so funny. Like when I look back, the men would be at their desks smoking on the job, and then you'd have a typewriter, and you'd do everything on these little pieces of paper and give it to the sub editors. All the people in management were all men. There was no woman in management whatsoever. It was just a different world,
Yeah.
And I don't even feel that old, but it's
it's crazy. So that's Otago Daily Times.
Otago Daily Times, still going strong.
Yeah, that's the Dunedin paper.
Much loved, Dunedin paper, yeah. But I stayed there for 1 year, and I was like, I've got to get out of here, because I was, in my hometown and everything. And then came up here and just sort of travelled the world after that. But I've always sort of had a base in Auckland after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you go back to your Lebanese heritage? Did you go back to...
Travelling-wise?
Travelling, yeah.
Yeah, I've been there actually 3 times now, 3 totally different trips. And that was just amazing. The most recent one, we took our boys back 3 years ago. And that was just really fascinating for them to see that part of their heritage, and for me to kind of be able to take them to the little village that my dad's family's been part of for, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. So, that was a great gift. And obviously just before COVID happened too, so it was very good timing. Yeah.
Lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing to go back, isn't it?
It really is.
And take your own family.
You understand so much more about yourself, and they understand so much more about themselves too,
And it's so different to New Zealand, isn't it? It's like
so different.
Unbelievably different.
Yeah. And you kind of realise the great things about being here too when you see other places, and you also kind of realise the drawbacks as well, which is, they got a good lesson. Yeah. Yeah.
Totally, and appreciate what we have here too, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. Completely.
So just starting to talk about your own writing and how you started getting into writing books. Yeah. How did that sort of, what was the connection from your journalism days to book writing and being an author?
Yeah, that's a really good question actually. I always wrote poetry, and then I think it was when I was in my mid-20s. It was precipitated by a really bad breakup, but I was heartbroken. And as usual with my practice, I take my emotions to the page or to the medium and work it out there. So I actually wrote this book, and I think I was in my mid-20s by then, and just really followed my intuition to get this book, started and finished, which was a really interesting process. And then I met Kerry Hume, who was the writer of The Bone People, at a sort of writers' festival, the West one. I can't remember what it's called. The West, the one they have at Titirangi.
Oh yeah, I know the one you mean.
Yeah.
Can't think
anyway,
of the name.
I was young and full of like risk taking, and so I sent her some of my work, and she amazingly, I was at the flat I was in at that point, and someone rang up, and then and I said, "Oh, hello," and she said, "Oh, hi, it's Kerry here. How are you?" And I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Kerry Hume was ringing me. I was like, "What?" And she said, "Oh, she really liked my poem, and which was the poem that actually became Freedom Song." And then this was how many years ago I wrote it.
Wow.
And I cheekily said, "Oh, look, I've got a manuscript. Would you be able to have a look at it?" And I cannot believe I even said that. Like today, I just would not even think about something like that, because I just know how long it takes. And back then, you're kind of just living on a prayer, aren't you? So I did that, and she was very gracious, and she read it, and she gave me lots of really good feedback.
Wow,
and
how amazing! And Kerry Hume, I mean, she's a very well thought of, well respected New Zealand author.
She really is, and so I actually did some. I had the manuscript ready, and I'd already done a lot of work on it, and I went to like a summer school at Columbia University in the States. It was just like about 9 weeks of working on your manuscript, and through that, Kerry Hume had given me a, kind of like a little review sort of thing, and on the back of that, I found a really lovely young press in New York that was starting out, and they were keen to publish the book that ended up being, it's called Redemption, and that was my first publication. So that was when, by the time it all happened, I was probably late 20s. And that got published there and got sold on Amazon, but it was never really available in this country because I was living in America at that time. So that was my first book, and that was a really great experience. It really taught me about following my intuition to finish something, to start something and have a middle in something, and to finish something. So that was a really good process for me.
And that can be hard for younger people sometimes.
Yeah, I think I was pretty determined for some reason, just determined.
Yeah. And that's amazing that you had the confidence to think, I'm going to publish the book. I mean, was that your goal at the beginning when you first started, or was it more a therapeutic start?
Yeah, exactly. That's always my thing. It's always a therapeutic thing. And then at the end of it, I'm like, oh, maybe this could be quite good for something else. And then it might be something good for something else. It's just interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. So that wasn't your goal at the beginning, to write a book and have it published?
No, again, I'm just always on a very intuitive level. So I'm not necessarily thinking about what the outcome's going to be. I'm just being with the process quite a lot when I think about it,
And it's almost the universe putting you in the right place to meet Kerry, and, it's funny how those things happen, that it sort of actually evolved to become a published book.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I look back on it now and I cannot even, just don't like it at all.
Really?
So, yeah, it's quite funny. I just want to take a slash, a pencil to everything and just, redo it. But I think, most writers feel that way, I think.
Yeah, and it's reflective of your 20-something self.
Exactly.
Which is good.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
You're capturing that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your writing's obviously evolved, which is a good thing.
It has. It really has. It's really different now. Yeah.
And what sort of stuff didn't you like?
Good question. I think that as we grow, we kind of get better at editing somehow, and we know a bit more what to keep and what to leave out. Yeah, I'd say lots of things, but maybe that's the core of it. Yeah.
Maybe have more restraint.
Yeah, or just
not over speaking.
Yeah, it's showing, not telling as well. That's the other thing, which is, as you get older, it's kind of like you're just showing rather than telling.
And I think when you're young, you want it to seem kind of impressive, and you want people to think it's great. So you have that sort of pressure on yourself and then often you end up overdoing it to make it feel like it might be okay.
Yeah, well, you want the bells and whistles, I've been looking at not needing those bells and whistles so much anymore, just kind of being a bit more just okay with being just who I am, and the good and the bad, and I don't really need to prove so much. Maybe that's it, not having to prove much anymore.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that is one of the advantages of getting older.
Yeah, one of the many, Matt.
Absolutely. It's great getting old.
That's our story, and we're sticking to it.
Yeah. Love it. So after the publication of that book, where did you go from there?
Okay, so after that, actually, when that happened, the Twin Towers, just as I was about to start a tour doing different parts of New York and around different parts of the cities in America, the Twin Towers came down in 9/11, and we were basically living in the West Village, which was West 11th Street, very close to there. So our whole lives were really taken into a kind of, really made hard by that. So Mark actually got made redundant from his job in advertising, and I was temping at the time, and we sort of just, as well as doing my writing, obviously, and we both decided it was time to come home. So we really packed up our lives there and came home, and on the way home got engaged, which was fabulous and unexpected for me.
Beautiful.
And so we came home here, got married, and then we had our kids. So from then I just really clung to my creative practice as much as I could. But didn't really, I could get little bits here and there done. I'm sure you'll be able to understand with that when you've got little kids. And I didn't, I'd get little bits done here and there, but I didn't really have a book finished around those years from when the kids were, probably born till about 5 or so.
Well, it's hard to get anything much done.
It is.
And your head's not really working, your brain's not working.
You're so tired all the time. Yeah. So I still always did write, but I didn't have a book to publish as such in that time. And then we moved from Auckland we went overseas again to America for a while, which was amazing, because I'd won this green card, and we had to go back with all the family for 6 months to see if we could make that happen, but we couldn't. So we came back here, and we went back down to my parents' batch, which was awesome because we were starting a business. So they have a batch just outside of Dunedin, and we went there. And we basically stayed there for about 5 years, which was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, but then life's always just so much full of goods and bads, isn't it? Like my mum got sick on our 3rd year there. I think it was the 3rd year, and died really quickly from ovarian cancer, which was very hard.
It's tragic.
Really tragic. And So,
And you were so close to her.
so close. We were, as I said before, best friends. And her and my dad were just a real soulmate couple. So he was devastated. I had 2 small children. We were starting a business, and it was just really hard times. So, funnily, again, the next book came from that traumatic experience.
Another
I can
gift,
see a
another
theme
gift
here.
from Mum.
Another gift from Mum. It is too. Yeah. It is too. Yeah. So, so what happened with that was, it was kind of in the process of my grieving that these little sort of verses or little prayers or blessings or whatever sort of came from that. And again, I had no plan of it. There was nothing of me thinking, oh, this could be a book or anything. It was just me in a daily way dealing with grief. And what I'd do is I'd go and sit on this big rock at the end of Muriwai Beach. And it was such a cool thing to do because, it gave me a chance to actually get away from anything else but my own grief, which was really hard because, when you're a mum, you're running a business, you're, looking after your dad, all that stuff. It was a rare treat to actually get some time to actually just be able to have a cry or just stare into space for half an hour, etc. So that was really informative and just gave me space to really be with all the emotions that were going on for me at that time. And then after that was kind of over a period of about 2 years of doing that. Just I'd have my daily walk to the end of the beach, and then I'd sit on the rock and I'd take my little notebook sometimes and write things down. And after a couple of years, I had these little blessings and sort of poetry blessing type things and photographs that I'd kind of collected over that time. And I sent it to my fabulous friend who we are both writers, and we send each other stuff to critique, and just she's my first reader really after my mum. So she looked at the stuff and she's like, oh, I think you should publish this because it'll help lots of people, because it was kind of like my way of dealing with the grief from my mum. And I was like, oh, that's never going to happen. That's just absolutely never going to happen. This was never on my list. It's not even anything I want to do.
And did you feel like it was such a personal
I did.
that you weren't sure if you wanted to go public?
Yeah, I did. And I also, it's funny though, because I suppose another big part of me is also trusting that, things like that can be for the good. And trusting that, if it's helped my heart, it might help someone else's heart. So when I could sort of see that part of it, I took my own kind of worries about it off the table a little bit. Yeah.
Which is great. And that's, for people who know you, Emma, that is the person that you are. You're such a giving person, and you're so in tune with emotion, your own emotion and the emotions of others. It's quite a beautiful thing.
Oh, thank you. It's bringing a tear to my eye. Thank you. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, so that was that, and it was actually interesting because it's opened up so many conversations on this topic by putting that out there, and actually having the strength to do that has actually opened up so much that I would never have expected,
Yeah, isn't that great?
Yeah.
And so how did you go through the publication process with that book?
Well, it's interesting because the last time it was with another press, and they have all the rights to that book, and they have in perpetuity all that, and you get 5% and those kind of things from it. And coming from a business head, which I'd kind of had for the last 10 or 15 years before that, I realized that I didn't actually want to give this away to anybody else. I wanted this to be my intellectual property because it's the deepest part of me that I'm putting out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that kind of made me want to do it myself. And in lots of ways it's harder, but in lots of ways I believe the world's set up for there to be less middlemen anyway. So I'm trusting in that, and I want that to be the case moving forward for me as well. I trust I just know I trust in my own intuitive process, and I know that that's part of what I want to keep doing. Is I want to keep my intellectual property for myself. So having that in mind, I found an amazing team of a really amazing editor, Jeff Walker, who did that. And then there was also all these different people along the way who I found who made it possible to do the book in the beautiful form that it came in. So I was really lucky to find those people that could help me to bring it out into the world in that way. Yeah.
So you have to manage all the different people who contribute to all the different stages of publication.
Yeah, and it's fascinating.
Which would be hard, but interesting as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I loved it actually. It's really interesting, and again, you've got to keep trusting through the whole process and find people that are going to be good, are going to be, have their finger on the pulse enough to know how to do things as well as possible for that book. Yeah.
And how do you find those people?
Well, that's the thing, and I'm actually really open if anybody wants to, I can actually help people through that process too, because it really is a very gratifying one. It's Jeff himself had a whole kind of group of people that helped on that level, and then there was a lady, Barbara, oh my gosh, what's her name? I'll remember her name anyway. She was amazing. She organised the process of the printing and all those kind of things, and then the printing happened in Hong Kong, and then the books are delivered to me, and we'd go through every single aspect of the process before it. Then you go through each page with a fine-tooth comb and make sure everything was as it should be, and each photograph had the right colourings, and all those things, which was it was very details based, but very gratifying. Yeah.
Well, that's like a sort of whole artistic practice in a way, isn't it?
It is,
the design and all the aspects of publishing a book.
Yeah.
Which would be quite lovely, and then feeling like you're really owning how that all happens and getting the result that you want, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely more than you think, as everything is in life.
Yeah. I guess it's a much more work involved, which not everyone has time for.
Yeah, and it's but then also it is actually, if you have the right people on the job, it's not too much of a painful process. It can be quite a fun process as well. But definitely it is a process. Yeah.
And what happened to Beloved after it was published?
Well, it actually found its way in the world really easily. It really was a kind of like a joy, really, even though from all that sorrow came a lot of joy. And it's found its way in the world really well. It's lots of people have bought it, and lots of people have as I've said, got back to me and said how it's affected their lives and how it's actually made their lives better, and how they feel like they're holding someone's hand in the depths of their own tragedy, which to me is just, there's nothing more amazing than that. And just weird things like, just even recently someone in Muriwai bought it, an older man, and I found this incredible letter in my letterbox just not even that long ago, just heartfelt, brought a tear to my eye letter from a person that I would never even think that had been really deeply moved and kind of helped by the book. So
that's so beautiful.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Yeah.
And that links so beautifully with, your philosophies of life and your meditation practice and the other things that you do, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it's just about accepting all of life, really, not just trying to prove something and accepting and trying to put this kind of perfect image out into the world. It's also putting my pain and my sorrow and my vulnerability into the world and trusting that, because that's what really brings us all together as humans, our frailties, and trusting that is a big part of it,
Yeah. And then, using that in a positive way is amazing.
Yeah. Or just kind of being aware of it and not judging it, so that you're not judging it in the world so much. You're actually understanding and accepting rather than blaming and judging. Yeah.
I'm sure you have lots of little, pearls of wisdom for us in the way that we live our lives. I think you do have a good approach on that, which we could all learn from.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it is just about accepting our flaws a lot, though, which isn't easy.
No.
Is it?
But everyone's flawed.
Everyone is. We're all broken, but we're all beautiful too, Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. We could go on for a long time talking like this.
Yeah.
But back to your practice after Beloved, what happened then? Did you sort of think that you'd like to write another book from that experience and what you'd learnt? Or
yeah, I really loved it.
Were you waiting for the next tragedy?
Well, the funny thing was the poem that was the basis of Freedom Song I'd written before I even wrote the first novel. So it was like 25 years earlier. And it had always stayed with me and had been, again, come from tragedy because I was doing this research on a documentary at that time, which was about Once Were Warriors and the real true stories that were coming from that. And
Once Were Warriors, that was a New Zealand film, wasn't it? About difficult family life. Yeah,
really, really difficult family life, and how, colonialism has, been so destructive to the Māori community in this country, and very deeply felt, beautifully made film. And the star of it, Whenua, who actually lives in Muriwai, funnily, or she did, I don't know if she still does, but anyway, I was a young journalist and we were going around seeing all these people whose lives were reflecting the same sort of difficulties that we found that were in the movie. And anyway, there's a little bit in the introduction of the book about this, but the woman who really broke my heart was a woman who she had been in a really abusive relationship, and ostensibly her partner had killed her. It wasn't the father of the baby, but he'd killed her 18-month-old child. And she took the rap and said she was, suffering from postnatal depression, etc., blah, blah, blah. And I was just sitting there as this young journalist hearing this story and just devastated inside. And Rena Owen was amazing, gracious, just, did a beautiful job of kind of being there with this beautiful young lady. And then I came home and I woke up in the night and just wrote this poem straight away, the Freedom Song poem. And it just always stayed with me for my whole life, really. And I'd sort of always wanted it to be an illustrated sort of, not even a book, I don't know, somehow have illustrations to go with it. And so that's how the genesis of that one happened. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How amazing.
Yeah.
That's really incredible.
Interesting.
I didn't know the story behind that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then how did you go about this book? So, what made you think that you would go for the book idea again?
I suppose because I'd done it and I knew it was actually really fun, and it was the same thing. I didn't really want to give that poem up either. And so I needed to, I actually took years to find the person who would be the collaborator with this, who was a really amazing Dunedin artist called Ewan McDougall. And he, after quite a lot of time of me sort of telling him this, this idea, and the timing wasn't right, and then all of a sudden he said, yes, we'll do it, and was really, really generous of giving us his whole work, his whole 30-year kind of catalogue of work to choose from, to go with. So myself and the graphic designer, who was amazing, Kawa Nudo, an amazing young graphic designer for books, the three of us kind of went through and chose the best illustrations for each kind of part of the poem. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
And it was cool.
That's probably quite unusual for an artist.
Yeah, it was amazing. We were very, very lucky. He's very generous.
And he didn't want to illustrate to the parts of the poem?
No, I think it was easier for him because he'd kind of had a whole lifetime, and he knew that there was a back catalogue that would actually tick lots of boxes. Yeah.
And how did you find him?
He's fabulous. He's how did I find him? I actually saw his work when we were living in Dunedin at my friend's gallery down there, a really cool gallery, and Gallery de Novo in Dunedin, which a lot of people from down there would know. And I saw his work in the window and I was like, oh my gosh, that's the guy I've been looking for all these years.
Wow. And what was it about his work that you connected with?
It's just a really raw, intuitive style that is very evocative. Yeah. But funny, I think in hindsight, maybe the power of the words and the power of his imagery was a little bit too much together. I think that I personally love it, and there's a lot of people that really, really love the book, but I think that it was harder for that book to find its readership. Like Beloved was really easy, it just went out there, found it sold out, blah, blah, blah. Whereas this one, I don't know. I think the powerful imagery as well as the powerful words, I think this might be just a bit too much for people. I don't know.
Did people understand what the story was around the book? I mean, do you think that they were responding to Beloved because they could put themselves into that position of dealing with grief, and then with the freedom song idea behind the poem? Did you make that really obvious with your marketing, and that maybe was the thing that was putting people off, or do you think it was something else?
It's funny, I just don't know.
You don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's I think it's just been a learning curve for me, because it's quite funny. I did markets and things like that, so I can watch how people respond to my work, which is really interesting. And I'll just kind of watch, do people like that? Do they like that stone, or do they like that book, or do they like, and yeah, I just think there was something about the combination that was hard. It's quite a hard combo in some ways. I think it's maybe a bit too much or something. The words are very loving but quite fierce, and the illustrations are also quite fierce. So it's quite a,
and sometimes it can be something as simple as the color palette. Because when I think of your book, it's quite red and orange. That's what I think of when I think of your book. Would you agree?
Yeah, the Freedom Song one. Yeah, definitely.
Which could be enough for somebody not to pick it up. It's just there's so many aspects that people relate to in different ways.
Yeah, and I think Ewan is the kind of artist that people absolutely love, and a lot of people don't get as well. Whereas for me, I just totally understand what he's doing, and I totally get it, and I love it. But he's quite a polarizing artist in that way. I think people really love it or they don't get it, and I think that's also a part of it. And maybe the same for my work as well. People might be the same for my stuff. They either really love it or just don't get it. So it's just interesting. It's interesting, and it's interesting about not taking things personally as well.
Yeah,
and just kind of seeing the big picture and still loving those things, but just seeing how each one has its own different pathway in the world. Yeah,
and accepting that.
Yeah. So I've still got a lot of freedom songs left.
Good to know. You can buy one.
If anyone wants one.
Through Emma's website.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're beautiful books.
They are beautiful. I personally just love them.
Yeah.
And I think, in some ways it's probably the favourite of all the things I've done in some ways. Yeah. So I don't mind. But there's just a lot of boxes.
Yeah. But I guess that's all part of the writing.
It is part of the life, that some things work and some things don't, and some things work in some way and they don't work in other ways, and just being open to that.
Good learning for the future, but then also, as you say, staying true to yourself.
Yeah. I wouldn't change it. I personally love it. So that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. That's important. Yeah. So from here with your books, what's the plan?
Well, I'm kind of in a bit of a gawky teenage phase at the moment with my writing. So I kind of feel like I'm between two different ways of being with it. So I don't know. I'm just kind of fumbling in the dark at the moment, but trusting that. So some days I'll look at what I've done. I'll go, oh, that is so good. And some days I'll look and go, oh my gosh, what the hell are you doing, girl? So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how I'm giving myself the time to evolve to what it needs to be. So I'm not sure what that is yet, but time will tell.
Can't wait to see what you get up to.
I can't wait either.
Well, it's interesting that you're sort of trying something different, or, pushing yourself out of what you've done before and going through that slightly uncomfortable phase. Yeah,
it's funny because I just think also at the moment the world is just in such a kind of state, and with a lockdown, all those things that, there's so much to say, and there's so much, kind of need for change, and there's so much of this and that and the other. It's really hard to find a way to say all these things without telling, without kind of being like, angry about what's happening, and that kind of thing is not necessarily going to help. So I'm trying to sort of filter through that to find the gold at the at the end of it, hopefully. But yeah, I don't know. At the moment, there's a lot of stuff that I'm sifting through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just part of your process, I guess.
It is,
your creative process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting. So moving on from the books, I know that you produce quite a lot of photography and then also your beautiful soul stones.
Yeah,
So would you like to talk about those?
Yeah. So sort of around the same time when I was doing the grieving, I think, when we lose a lot, we also somehow we are given gifts, I think, in life. So I feel as if the grieving and the loss led to me kind of having photography as another part of my creative process. And also because I'd been sitting on this rock and sort of contemplating nature quite a bit around that time, I started to really understand about that each stone had a sacredness about it. The stone I was sitting on really became such a great friend to me and became my confidant, and the essence of that stone really helped me in my grieving process. And so from that I started to kind of realize the beauty of nature in each stone and the kind of the messages that each stone can bring. And there's a huge tradition of stones being used for these kind of sacred ways, and all the indigenous traditions and in the Celtic tradition, stones are hugely sacred. And so again, completely intuitively and without really any critical thinking, I just started finding stones on the beach, and then I just kind of spent time with them, and I could sort of feel that there was a message in the stone. And so then I'd kind of got into my mind I'd love to engrave some stones, and so I started doing that, and that became just an extension of what we're talking about. Really, it's kind of like they're literally touchstones for emotion, really. And stones have a real steady presence and a real steady calm wairua or spirit that is very beneficial, especially in the times we're in when we're just running here and there and we can be quite ungrounded. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. And how, so can you describe how they look for people who haven't seen them?
Yeah, well, at first I took stones from the beach that I was on and I was walking on, and I was close with the kaumātua down there on the marae from around where our family has had a batch for years, and so they blessed the stones and so on, and that was quite a close relationship as well. But then when I came up here, and where we live now is a marine reserve, and I spoke with the local kaumātua here, and they were like, well, this is a marine reserve, and even though it's only stones that you're taking from your area, they are still the treasures from this area. And and I totally understood that.
So you weren't allowed to take them?
No. And I sort of wanted that to be, always a very transparent process. So from then, that's kind of opened up my practice a bit more, because I could actually, I went and found stones, and I actually bought them. So that kind of was interesting in itself, because it meant that I could find stones that were from the South Island, which was very close to me, and they're also millions and millions of years older than the stones from the North Island. They've got a whole different feel to them. They look different. They are different. So that was really cool. And quite a lot of the stones that I'm using now are South Island quartz, which are really cool. The kind of more whitey green colour.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and then there's also all different other kinds of different stones from different parts of the country, and they all have their own story that play into what words are on there and how they are placed on the stone and all those things. Yeah.
And so you choose just one word?
Sometimes one word, sometimes more. And I just sort of sit with the stone, I hold it in my hands for a while, and I keep it in my space for quite a while. So I'm kind of surrounded by maybe 5 or 6 stones, and then I just hold them in my hand quite for a while and just kind of feel feel what I feel that stone's message is. Yeah. And I remember someone told me, I can't remember who it was now, about travelling stones, and I think it's a Maori concept, but some stones are made to be they're made to be kind of to travel around and give their wairua to lots of different people in lots of different places, but some stones are just always going to stay in one place, which I found quite interesting.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
So I think all the stones I choose are always the travelling ones. Yeah.
You must be feeling that vibe that they're a travelling stone.
Exactly, tapping into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny because I love doing those stones, but there's only so much time in the day, as you know. So I love doing them. As soon as I make them, they get sold, or they find their homes. But I haven't had that much time to do those lately. So,
and how do you do the actual engraving?
I have this fabulous group of people at the Jacobson Headstones who do grave stones, and it was quite funny because when I first started doing them, and I was, I ended up taking my first lot to the same gravestone people that did my mum's headstone. So another gift from mum.
Yeah. It's a nice connection.
Yeah. So, and up here they're really lovely too, and they do. They kind of think I'm a bit crazy, like, oh yeah, okay, here she comes again.
Here's the stone lady.
Stone lady. Yeah, but they're very lovely, and they do the engraving for me, and it's kind of a bit of a hands-on process because it takes a while for it to look how I want it to look. So it's been a bit of a process with them, just kind of making sure that things are the way they should be, and how deep the stone cutting goes, and that kind of stuff too. So that's been quite a fun process, and every time they come back, it's just they always stun me in some ways because they always look really beautiful. And the deeper the engraving, I think it looks the better. But some stones you can't engrave so deeply either.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's giving you sort of a look into the stone, isn't it, when it goes deeper?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And how do you find when you're at markets with your stones? I guess it must be quite interesting watching people's reactions. I mean, some people will say it was just a stone with a word on it. And, maybe they see something like that without the backstory and don't understand all the beautiful ideas that go behind it and the nurturing sort of powers that the stones would have. So how do you find that, and how do you communicate with people?
Yeah, it's really funny. I think it's an intuitive process, and people find their stone. So they come in and they might not even be looking at a stone, and they'll just go, oh, I have to have that. They don't even know why. So they'll get it. Even like little kids quite a lot, they'll badger their parents to get them the stone because they really think they need it. And that's been a fascinating process watching that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
So you just trust that process that people find their rock, their stone.
Yeah, and some people are stone people too. Like, I know you've got stones here that I've admired today because, I think if you do love stones, you're going to be kind of open to the properties of stones and what they can bring. There's a lot of people that are open to that. Yeah.
Yes, and they're so beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
I love, they're it's just almost like a sort of art object, isn't it, in a way? It's got that appeal also that, looks beautiful in your home with your other artworks. It feels like an artwork as well as something that might be healing for you. Yeah,
I think that it's also just letting nature shine, because it's really the stone is doing everything. It's just the words are just really a backdrop for what's already there. So it's kind of like they're quite subtle. They're not trying to kind of be all neon signed about it. They're just kind of like on there, but really the contours and the natural beauty of the stone is what's the main driver. Yeah.
It's so beautiful, that connection right back to that rock that you sat on all those years ago.
Amazing,
yeah, it's really gorgeous.
Yeah.
And so how does your photography fit in with that?
Well, I just think my photography is just a great boon. I just find it really easy. I find it so much fun. I find I'm just in the zone with it, and it's not even hard. I just find it's like it just keeps on giving me gifts. Yeah, it's just like been a really easy process, and I love it. And I don't really call myself a photographer because I don't know why. I just don't. I just find it a very easy, flowing process of just, I just think I feel like I'm blessed with being able to see these things in nature, and then to be able to capture them and share them is just an equal boon. And it's quite an easy process. It's just like click, and you've captured something, and then you can share it with other people. And I love to share things, and so it's kind of like an easy way to do that as well. And it's the same kind of love for nature and desire to be able to find that moment of peace. All those same things are informing that process, but I just find it for some reason a really easy process.
And people respond to your work.
Yeah, no, they do, and it's really easy because they say a picture paints 1,000 words. I find that that's really true, and it's quite an easy way for me to actually get a message across that is that I'd be using in an ego way. I'd be trying to think about what are the best words for that, blah blah blah. Don't even need to, just click. There you go. That's it. Yeah. That's what I could have spent all day saying.
Yeah, exactly. Which is probably sort of a little bit of freedom for you in some way.
Oh, it really is. I love it.
Yeah, and you're responding to your place. Is it mostly Muriwai?
It is, especially now because we can't really go many places. But it's funny, I think you kind of get used to the essence of a place, and so you're able to kind of almost like showcase the beauty a bit better.
And really connect on a deep level. Yeah,
and get the gift back because I know that you know what I mean. It feels as if it's a two-way relationship with nature, especially here at Muriwai. It feels like you're loving it and it's loving you right back.
That's right. Yeah, that's a beautiful way of looking at it. Yeah. And is it mostly the beach and the sea and the sky that you're photographing, or do you get out into nature as well? Yeah,
it's mostly the beach and sea and the sky. I also love forest, but I haven't been able to figure out how to bring the divinity I see in the forest into the photograph, if you know what I mean. Like I haven't been able to figure out how to translate what I'm seeing with my eyes in the forest into that divine picture that you want to take. It's so much kind of easier with the beach because it's the lighting's often so divine too. Yeah.
Oh, work in progress.
Yeah, work in progress.
Yeah.
And
totally.
I need to learn more about how photography works. Fabulous Judy Stokes, who we all love from Muriwai, who's left here now, which is very sad. But she has given me some one-on-one teaching, which I've found really amazing. Because there's a whole kind of realm of photography that I don't know yet, which is, the kind of more technical side of it. And she has been great at kind of demystifying that a little bit,
That's good.
Yeah.
So it seems like your practice is, not your writing so much, but other parts of your creative process and practice is quite intuitive and sort of responding to how you're feeling and what you're noticing and what you're connecting with. Would you say that's right?
It's kind of quite easy. I love it. Yeah. Very life-giving and life-affirming as well. Yeah.
And I guess you don't have those restrictions. You haven't done the fine arts degree where you feel like you need to be doing a certain thing. You've got a sort of open approach to your creativity.
Less ego about it. And that's what stops me sometimes in the writing part of it. 'Cause, when you kind of think, I'm a writer or I'm a fine artist, it's just such a kind of drag.
Yeah.
Because you've got these expectations, which are just, pretty bogus, really.
Yeah. I know. It's all in our own heads.
Yeah.
Most of the time. And so with your website, it's a lovely website, and I know that you've done some of your own podcasts in the past, which might develop further in the future. And, you've got all the things that you're selling. You have your books for sale on your website, and you show your photographs, and you sort of put yourself out there. And I think you're really good at that, at the marketing side. So how do you find your creativity as a business? How do you find the running of it?
Okay, well, realistically, let's be honest, I'm terrible at it. But I've had these incredible young women because I run another business, and I have these amazing marketing people that I work with in my other business. That's that actually have given me a lot of guidance and shaped my kind of presence online and all these things. So I feel really blessed with that. And they're all younger women, like in their 20s and stuff, and they understand how how to market things in a totally different way than what I do. They totally get it. And I've been blessed to kind of have their expertise to help me along. So at the moment I haven't got anybody on that level. So I'm kind of, it's definitely great to have somebody to kind of push that along and tell me I've got to do this and this and this, and then I just do it. Yeah.
But your Instagram, I enjoy your Instagram. It's when you post things.
Yeah, that's my that's just my freedom easy place to do it. Yeah, which is really good. And so I think because I haven't got anyone now, I'm just again going back to my old chestnut, which I've said about 20 times, but intuitively just doing things a bit more free flowing, So I think I might just do that now and to see what happens with it.
Yeah. Which can be a good way to do it.
Yeah.
And you're also a meditation practitioner, so I imagine that connects in a big way to your creativity as well. Can you tell us how what are the connections?
Yeah, that's a good question too. I think that really is the basis of everything. Yeah, because that gives me the I suppose it gives me the groundedness to be able to just be in the moment and to actually see things a certain way, and to give myself the space to actually let my emotions inform me on what they're saying, or it just gives me the space to be who I am, I suppose you'd say. And that kind of informs on all the different things that we've just talked about, I suppose. Yeah. And it's something that it's quite funny, like really that's what my podcast is about, because people think meditation is this kind of mystical sort of, it's so woo-woo and it's never going to be me, etc. But it's actually not that at all. It's a really easy thing to do, and it's kind of a human right. I think that, as time goes along, I think more and more of us will just be meditating, because it's just like eating. It's just a part of being a human, I think. But that's probably quite a not a mainstream way of thinking, but
well, it's becoming more mainstream, I think.
It is, I think. But as soon as I mention it, I can just see people's eyes oftentimes glaze over, and they're kind of feeling like they're going to be judged because they're not that, or I just really want it to be much more widely understood than what it is, and just widely embraced, because it's so easy, and it's so I'm passionate about spreading the word about that, and I love teaching it as well. Yeah.
And you're such a good person for that. I mean, I've seen your sometimes just little words on Facebook and or a little video of you speaking and talking about breathing, and just that in itself is helpful for me.
Oh, yay. That's so good.
I think you've got a real gift in that area. And it's just about educating people. And I myself, I guess, with meditation feel we're slightly going off topic here, but, I think it's a bit like people who want to be praying, but they can never sort of feel like they're really connecting with the God or whatever they're praying to.
Yeah.
And sometimes with meditation, I feel like I'm not that good at sort of putting my mind into a good space for that, because my mind is so busy. I get distracted and start thinking about other things. And I guess, for people who don't know about meditation, I've never done it myself. That's what sort of scares me about going there, because I'm not sure how I can control my mind. But it may not even be about that. I know that I need to go somewhere to help with breathing and processing thoughts and that kind of thing. So I feel like it's something I need, but I just need to go there and see what it's all about, I guess.
And what you're saying is so interesting, because it's actually totally true. It is like that. But the whole thing about it is that people aren't getting is that fact that you're actually sitting there and your mind's doing that, that's actually meditation. So all it is just giving yourself space to recognize that your mind's doing that. And that's the meditative space, because you're actually aware of that. It's just being aware of your processes, not trying to make them anything but that what they already are. So it's like not like you're going to sit there and you're in nirvana and you're just in this great place. No, I've been doing it all these years and I still sit there and my mind is going 50,000 different places. But that just knowing that is actually the most important thing. So it's not like you're ever going to be good at it or you're going to be a master at it or anything like that. It's just sitting with yourself and actually allowing yourself to be who you are at that moment in time, you know? So it's like, it's not really about trying to force anything, but just actually opening up to what actually already is, which is today my brain might be just going totally off the radar or whatever, you know. It's just about being present with how you actually are that day, you know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally does. And I think it's good for people to know that.
Yeah.
You know, even though it's not talking about your art practice, it's so connected. And I think it's great for people to know these things.
Yeah, because I think people do have an idea of it's this kind of, you know, moving towards perfection, but it's actually not. It's actually accepting the imperfections and actually giving room for those as well as the good things, that it's actually just giving room for what is rather than trying to be something that you're not, you know? Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm going to come to one of your classes.
Please, anytime.
I will. I'm doing it.
Yay.
So just a few questions for the final part of our episode today. What do you do in your spare time, Emma?
Spare time.
If you have any.
Yeah. Well, I love walking on the beach. That's my thing that I love the most. And I heard on your podcast you do the same thing. You walk by yourself, and I'm the same. Like, I just never get any time by myself. So I'm just like, when I'm walking, I'm always by myself, and it's so great. I love that.
Yeah.
That solitude that you can get when you're walking, and you're actually getting so much food from nature, you know, for your soul. What else? So I love going to movies, even though there hasn't been that many movies on lately. Yeah, I mean, I love spending time with friends and family. Love reading, but I don't get that much time for reading. I love it. Yeah.
Sounds cool. Might see you on the beach sometime.
Yeah,
Often
hopefully.
do, don't I?
Yeah, often do.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for people starting out on their creative journey?
Oh, that's a good one. Advice. Yeah. I think a lot of it is about, personally think everyone's creative. I don't think there's anyone, people say I'm not creative. Everyone is. And I think that we've been created and we are creative. So I think that I'd just say to people, honor the things that you love and the depth of who you are, and allow that to kind of inform you a bit more. Like, just, yeah, because really when it comes down to it, all this kind of stuff that we're doing in life, at the end, it doesn't really matter. It's about who we're being. And I think that the creative process is about finding who you are underneath all that, isn't it really?
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah. So my advice would just be, you know, listen to yourself on a deep level. Listen to yourself and listen to what you want out of life, and don't discount that. Yeah.
Great advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so true. What do you love most about what you do?
I love being able to be free flowing with taking what the life's giving me and actually making something from it. So just, I love that. I love to be able to like how you call me a creative maker. I love that, because I love to be able to to take what is given and make something out of it, which sometimes it's, you know, sometimes it might be beautiful, sometimes it might be ugly, sometimes it might be angry, sometimes it might be peaceful, but just accepting all of it. Yeah.
And being open
to it. Yeah.
I think your meditation and your sort of take on life is, you know, has sort of come through your work so much, and your different mediums and the different approaches that you have to your practice. And I think you're, not only are you honouring people who have been, like your mum, you're also giving gifts to people who are enjoying your work, or, you know, noticing what you're making. And that's a beautiful thing.
Thank you, darling. It's so nice to be acknowledged, and it's so nice to be able to have a space to actually talk about these things, which is so intrinsic, but we never really talk about them. It's just, thank you for opening up all this dialogue, and for all the podcasts I've listened to on creative matters so far have been just so heart-opening and so engaging on a on a really deep level, like just kind of, even though, people are talking about what they're making, there's so much going on underneath all that. So, and every person's story has been so different. So I've really enjoyed listening to the ones. I've still got a few to listen to, but I've loved it. So yeah, if you haven't listened to any other ones, please go listen to the rest of them.
Thank you, Emma. Yeah, thank you. That's great. And it's having people like you involved is what's making it so special and something that people can really connect with, which is, amazing for me.
Well, we're lucky to have such a diverse art community at Muriwai. Like, I'm still blown away by how many incredible artists just live in our wee neighbourhood. Like, it's just quite amazing, and from all different kinds of, all different parts of the spectrum. Like, Liz Smith, who's the embroidery artist, just listening to her kind of creative journey was really interesting, and Amanda Kemp as well. Just really interesting things that I didn't know, even though I knew both those people. I didn't know a lot about their lives that you brought up.
And it's not often that you actually, like you say, have time to sit down, tell your story and talk about your work, and how much more I think we can appreciate people's work once we hear their stories and their ideas behind it.
Exactly. And it's such a good thing. You can have it on the background. Like, I never iron, and I hate ironing, but I put that on. And I was listening to the podcast, and I was just ironing my whole wardrobe because I was actually enjoying listening so much. It's kind of like just sitting with someone, like you've got a cup of tea and you're just having a conversation. It's very, very engaging, but not in a kind of light way. Yeah.
Yeah. It's easy to listen to, isn't it?
Easy to listen to.
And relate to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I'm just going to branch out of Muriwai Beach soon.
Exciting.
Speaking to artists and creatives outside my zone, people I don't know.
Awesome.
So that's going to be new for me and a little bit scary.
You'll be great.
Yeah. It'll be different, I think, but also great. Yeah. Looking forward to it.
It's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Who's the next one on the agenda?
We have next week is Sharon Kitely, who was recommended by a friend, and she's a quilt maker.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
And a quilt pattern designer. So, yeah, looking forward to that.
Yay.
Okay, Emma, well, thank you very, very much for coming and for talking with me and for sharing and being so open. And I think a lot of what you've said, will help many people in many different ways, especially talking about meditation and responding in a natural way to what's around you and how that can sort of inform your creative practice. So
thank you for your fabulous questions. I've loved it. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's been great. Thanks, Emma.
Thank you.